Okay, yeah.
No problem.
No worries. So the countdown.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jasmine Patterson with Bermuda Broadcasting. Thanks for joining us for our continued coverage of Decision 2025. We're at OBA headquarters in the city of Hamilton on Reed Street, where they're announcing a new candidate, and we've just been told that is former Minister of Home Affairs, Michael Fay. So we'll go now to that press conference live.
Good afternoon, members of the media and the listening public. Thank you for being here today. Today, we are here to make an announcement that will resonate across the island. We know it will be controversial. We know that conversations will start and that attacks will follow. But the truth of the matter is, perception is not always reality. Michael Fay is no stranger to the political arena. A former senator and government minister, Mr. Fay has worked hard for the people of Bermuda, despite some of the perceptions that may depict otherwise. Mr. Fay is a man who embodies the three values of the One Bermuda Alliance upon which we were founded: inclusion, integrity, and financial responsibility for social benefit. And we believe he would be a great asset to our team. Most importantly, he is a man who loves Bermuda and her people, and is committed to being part of a team who truly wants the best for our entire community. To that end, I would like to officially announce that Mr. Fay is the One Bermuda Alliance candidate for Constituency 20, Pembroke Southwest, in the February 18 general election.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Thank you all for coming today and joining me for the announcement as the OBA candidate for Constituency 20, Pembroke Southwest. First of all, I thank the support of my wife, Emer, my children, Aiden, Nasser, Zara, and Aaron, the rest of my family, and my late father, who passed in February last year. Today, in fact, would have been my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. Also, let me thank Susan Jackson, who served her constituency well and was an excellent representative for the people of Constituency 20. And also the leaders of the OBA and other candidates, who I have discussed this candidacy with in very frank discussions. For me, it has been a journey to get to this space, to be chosen by the One Bermuda Alliance to run in a general election. For some, this decision may seem strange, given some of the events between 2012 and 2017 and my inevitable attachment to many, especially the One Bermuda Alliance's efforts on immigration reform. Over the years, there have been many who have tried to vilify what I and the OBA attempted to do. So let me address some of those matters up front. I think it's very important to remember that after the 2012 election, the OBA came into government and things were really not what they should have been. We were put into an unenviable position of having to examine ways in which to bring money and income into the country, keep money and people from leaving, and also increase our population. One of those ideas was to try and achieve the goal of encouraging people and capital to remain in Bermuda. And one of those was to offer PRC to those who had been in Bermuda for 15 years and status to those who had been here for 20 years plus. That is hardly opening the floodgates when the very people that would have applied were already here. The truth is, the word floodgate is a political phrase to undermine progress, period. The aim was always to ensure to prevent emigration. The plan would essentially help Bermudians by keeping capital and money on the island, increase the tax base, our pension pool, and contribute to healthcare costs. Over the years, that narrative has changed into me and the OBA being anti-Bermudian, and nothing could be further from the truth, especially when at the time I had had 3 Bermudian children and now 4. Frankly, the OBA I helped to found did do a poor job in trying to explain what we were doing. Since then, the government has in fact made similar announcements about the state of our economy and the need for 8,000 or so new people to come to our shores. Numerous comments have been made by any number of alphabet groups that immigration is required to have a sustainable economy, and I would say that in fact many of the policies that were being pursued between 2012 and 2017 have seen their way through to today, including a civil penalties regime and revamped work permit policy. Immigration need not be such a poisoned word. What has been a game changer for me has been the number of people who have spoken directly with me over the last number of years, telling me how they got it wrong in terms of what we were trying to do, including some who were on the front line of protests. I also accept that things could have been done differently by me and the OBA, and have said as much. I say thank you to all those I've spoken to. It has meant a lot to have had those discussions. Now, with that said, I'm not here today to continuously go back and forth and look at all of the past events. I'm far from perfect, and I put my hands up and accepted failings and accepted where we could have done better. But as Jarian said, sometimes people's perceptions are their reality. And I take the view that once you've had an opportunity to meet me and chat with me, you will not see the person that at times had a picture of me painted in the media as a villain. In fact, like all of us, I have friends in the PLP, the FDM, and with independents. What I am here to do today is look to the future, and that is why I put my name forward to represent the people of constituency 20 and do a job for all. As I've said, I have very much enjoyed the number of conversations over the last few years explaining certain policies, assisting where I can, and yes, in some circumstances, giving guidance to supporters of the current government. That is the nature of Bermuda. And what I'm looking to do is to stand up for all Bermudians. If in government, we will listen, and we will have a broad church to get the best for all of us. If in opposition, we can still agree where agreement is a good idea. However, it is also important to put forward alternative visions and alternative views for open and healthy debate. After all, that is what democracy is all about. I am an individual who will listen. And when I was a government minister, I did a lot of listening. I also took and made many decisions, from assisting to get the St. Regis Hotel going, the Lauren built, to helping get the Triathlon World Series events to come to Bermuda when I was part of a team with Flora Duffy. And I helped reduce grocery bills by 10% for 18 months on Wednesdays. I introduced minicar legislation, the UNESCO World Heritage Fund for St. George's, and was part of a team that got cruise ships to St. George's with a dedicated NCL ferry, all of which, I'm proud to say, are still intact. Decisions were made and they were numerous, but we have to stand by those decisions. What I'm looking to today is to say we're here to listen. We're here to assist. We're here to represent the people of this wonderful and beautiful island. My wife, Emer, and my almost 8-month-old daughter, Erin, are also here today. My other 3 children are in school. Part of this, and me doing this, is because I, like everyone, want a secure and happy future for our children. And I know that I can contribute to that. And should the voters of constituency 20 choose me, I look forward to representing them indeed. Your past does not define you. Thank you, and I'm more than happy to answer questions.
Hi, good afternoon. Jasmine Patterson with Bermuda Broadcasting.
Hi,
Welcome
Jasmine.
back, Mr. Fay.
Thank you.
So you've pretty much touched on what would be my first question. You know, as Home Affairs Minister from 2012 2017, you described how you were vindicated. I mean, what conclusion have you come to at the end of that?
That politics is not an easy ride, that's for sure. And I think that people that put their name forward, no matter who they're standing for, it's important to be recognized that they're prepared to make a contribution to the country. We have a lot to do in Bermuda, and that's one of the reasons that I'm prepared to join this team of some very dedicated people who have, frankly, have been working in constituencies for 4 or so years, constantly. I'm a latecomer, but I recognize the work that they've already done to start showing people what we're capable of doing. Yeah.
Would you say you put your name forward, or did the OBA come looking for you?
I think a bit of both. We've had lots of discussions over the years in different areas. So I think it's a pretty equal opportunity here for all of us.
Okay. So you'll be facing the PLP's Aisha Musson, another newcomer, independent, and our former OBA candidate Vic Ball in C20, replacing Susan Jackson. So critics have said that you are perhaps technically sound ideas and policies that you've brought to the table under the former administration, yet being culturally insensitive. How do you take that criticism, and how would you communicate that to the electorate?
You know, people obviously are entitled to their opinion about how they feel about someone. We were in a position between 2012 and 2017. It was tough. And sometimes, as we've said repeatedly in this press conference, those perceptions become reality. I mean, look, the fact is, I was in the Senate and I was put forward into portfolios many times that were very difficult, where a lot of things had to be done, and you can't always be popular. Sometimes, sadly, you got to make decisions that you know in your heart are right, maybe mispackaged, and maybe I was the wrong person to present them. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we're ready to represent the people of this country in government. And I think that's a big thing, that people are standing up to do what was required.
How would you say you've evolved personally and politically over the years you've been away from the limelight?
For a number of years, you're absolutely right. Since 2017, I've enjoyed making contributions through writing, but you have to take a step back and have some reflection time, and that's important. And say, is this what is required from me again? I'm very different, as anyone would be, from 7 years ago. I have a beautiful young daughter. My kids are obviously a lot older. And it's been a journey, as I've said. So I think it's looking back and accepting where you fail, but getting back up again and saying, you know what, we can continue to try and make this place better.
What areas would you say you've changed within yourself to perhaps come back differently?
I would say a lot more relaxed about things, more humble, and prepared perhaps to listen even more than I tried to do.
Thank you. And then I just have 2 questions for party leadership, if that's okay, Mr. Richardson. Where I'm lost. Okay, here we go. So some say there's been a concerted effort for this new OBA party to distance itself from the 2012 to 2017 administration. Why bring back one of the key players from that time frame?
Well, I think it's more complicated than strictly saying that we wanted to distance ourselves. I think the question was we wanted to build on the things that went well and replace the things that didn't go well. And there's a number of things the OBA government did that was incredibly successful and that really resonated and changed people's lives in Bermuda for the better. So I don't think this is anything like a step backward. This is taking, it's like shifting a car. You're going into a new gear.
Okay. So you've acknowledged in your opening remarks, Mr. Fay, unfortunately was characterized as a controversial figure. You've now helicoptered him into what some would say is an OBA safe seat to get him into the House. How do you communicate this to voters?
Yeah, so first of all, the OBA doesn't have safe seats. The 2020 election taught us that we have to earn the trust of every single voter. So to be clear about that. Secondly, insofar as helicoptering people in, there's a candidate select process. It's a lengthy process, as Michael spoke. He went through the process like everybody else did. And every single candidate has had that long trajectory of developing from a person of interest into a full-fledged rolled out candidate.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those voters who might still be on the fence, I'm sorry, Jonathan, thank you. Would you say that his addition to the team helps or hinders the party?
Well, the point is it always helps. It has to net help. You see, we're going back to the point that we actually have things to do other than talk about problems. The One Bermuda Alliance government, we are shaping up to address the significant problems that exist in Bermuda. For example, 30% food insecurity. That's an actual problem, and all the talking in the world isn't going to fix it. 811 people homeless. All the talking in the world is not going to fix that. And you can just go through the litany of problems. We've spent a year and a half working on that, on those platform ideas. They're concise, they're tight, we have policy behind them, and we're rolling out people who are capable both technically and politically of carrying that out. The simple fact is that at the end of the next term of the One Bermuda Alliance government, Bermuda will be a better place for us participating. And that's the road we're on. Thanks. Sure. Oh.
Thanks, folks. I just had a couple. Thanks for having us, as always.
Sure. Thanks, Jonathan.
I guess to start off with, Mr. Fay, I mean, you've been out of politics for 7 years plus. I won't use the term safe seat, but it is OBA stronghold. I mean, did you jump past other candidates to get it? Why is it you going for Pembroke Southwest?
The candidate selection committee made their decision. I'm aware that there were other candidates, and I have no doubt that they will be disappointed. But what I can say is that I will work with them as I would with any member of the party going forward. In terms of safe seats, the leader has said nothing is safe. Some are maybe easier than others, but that's not the point. There is a lot of work to be done. I need to get out and meet and greet the people of constituency 20. Of course, I know a number of people in that constituency, but it's not easy. We have Mr. Ball has put his name forward. I'm friends with Vic. I've spoken to Vic about it, and you know we're gonna have some fun out on the campaign trail, and we'll see each other and we'll shake hands. We can't have this animosity because that's not serving the people of Bermuda. So to say to be out of politics, I probably never was totally out. Okay. I have assisted, as I've said in my remarks, with any number of individuals, quite frankly, across the board. I've helped members of the PLP in a number of areas by discussing policy. I've helped the OBA, and I've been still a member of this community, notwithstanding some of the things that people may think. But we're here to serve, and that's the intent of everyone that puts their name forward.
I mean, circling back to one of Jasmine's questions, certainly for a reporter, anything controversial that happens makes things exciting.
Well,
but are there concerns?
Let's reduce the controversy then, and you'll be bored coming here.
Yeah, I mean, are there concerns among folks in the party that you still represent a political liability? I mean, you referenced immigration floodgates. I mean, they were presumably, you weren't mentioned, but that sounded like it was directed at you.
No, that was a phrase, in fact, that the PLP uses repeatedly to try and dismiss what the work is. It's a scare tactic, quite honestly, to say floodgates. As I've said, it's not a floodgate when people were already in the country. But you know, again, we can keep looking behind us and saying, well, this is what you did, Mr. Fay, or you didn't do. There's many great things that we did do, which I was a part. And you can create controversy as the media. If that makes a better story, maybe you'll do that anyway. I think the story here is that people want to stand up and serve, no matter how long they've been in or out. I suspect if I was still in the party and it had been 20 years, the question would be, geez, Mr. Fay, you're still in this for 20 years. Why are you still running? So you can't win either way. But let's do our best. And I'm going to try and make it boring for you when you come in here. That'll be my intent.
In that spirit, I wanted to throw something your way. You took
Uh-huh.
a drubbing over term limits.
Mm.
Term limits have not come back. You want to address that?
You're absolutely right. They haven't, because it was a job killer.
That's what you said. Yeah.
And the government of the day knows that. And if we really want to delve into it, Jonathan, they knew that coming into the 2012 election, because I saw enough things to suggest that they were well aware. At the time, I wish I'd said more, but that's the nature of things. You learn as you go. The fact is, you're absolutely right. Term limits did not come back because it was wrong then and it will be wrong now. That's it. And we have to accept that. And I think those are the answers when people say, oh, this guy did this and this guy did that, and the OBA did this and the OBA did that. If it was so bad, then why aren't all of those policies back in place? They're not, for a good reason.
Last question for
Yeah.
me, sir. Were the OBA to regain the government ministerial aspirations?
That's absolutely for the leader of the day to make those decisions. That's above my pay grade. I'm here to serve
very much.
Bermuda. I'm here to serve the OBA as well, and the constituents of 20 and the rest of the island. Thank you.
Thank you.